Well, hey there, families, and welcome back to our series all about parenting with integrity during crisis. I am so excited to talk to you guys about how to make discipline fun. Yes, I promise you guys we can make this fun, and I'm going to show you how. So when we make discipline fun and full of connection, it actually can unify us with our kids. It can bring us together and strengthen our relationship. And this is such a different kind of mindset than what many of us were raised with, right? When we think of discipline or punishment, when you made a mistake, it was like, oh my goodness, it was not fun. It was not connecting with your parents. And oftentimes that left us feeling shameful, guilty, just like, full of just that kind of feeling. But nowadays we have different ways we can do things in a new way that really does bring unity to our family. So let's talk about how we do that. So we all are kind of figuring out this new role that we have as teachers for our kids, right? I know my kids are a little bit older, they're 9 and 12, but during this whole Corona thing, we've really had to step into, okay, how are we going to be their teachers in addition to their parents, since they're doing all their work at home now? How do we be all of the things to our kids? And it's been a big learning adjustment, right? And thank goodness my kids are a little bit older so they can do a lot of self-management through the iPads and what the school is able to send home through technology. It's one of those situations where it's like, thank God for technology right now because our kids are able to continue learning, right? However, we're still having to step into that teacher role. And I kind of love it because as we're stepping into that teacher role, I want us all to remember that we are teachers, right? I know it might be scary for us to have to teach math and English and all those history things, right? But just remember that you already are a teacher. When you are a parent, you are a teacher. And the things that our kids are learning in school, math, English, history, science, all those things are really important. They really are. And what we are teaching our kids day in and day out, social emotional literacy skills, faith, confidence, self-control, self-regulation, listening, peaceful conflict resolution, the ability to make amends, how to repair relationships when they're damaged. All of these things are also things that we as parents are always teaching our kids. So I always say when it comes to discipline, parents, be a teacher. Embrace that role because you're a great teacher. You don't have to be trained in college to be a teacher because you're doing it day in and day out with your kids. However, I do always joke that if parents did, or if teachers did half of the stuff we as parents do with our kids behind closed doors to teach them a lesson, they'd be fired, right? So when you're needing to discipline your kids, be a teacher. And then when you're snuggling or playing baseball in the front yard or just having a fun afternoon at the beach with your kids, which we will one day be back at the beach with our children, right? But when you're doing that, that's when you want to be a parent. But otherwise, be a teacher, be a mentor, guide them towards the light is always our goal. Okay, so how can we do this? So teaching with role plays and redos is one of my favorite ways to kind of bring fun into the equation and also get kids to retain what we are teaching them. Because normally what happens is a mistake gets made and we kind of lay the smack down somehow with, oftentimes traditional punishment. Often when we don't know any other way, we just use what we know, right? So the traditional punishment comes into play and we'll say to our kids, don't ever do that again. Do not ever do that again or else this will happen. Or, that's the kind of the language works. Where now we're switching it into, hey, that's not okay. I'm not okay with what happened. You made a mistake. Mistakes are beautiful opportunities to learn. God will teach you through this mistake how to make a different decision tomorrow if you allow him to. So let me come beside you, kiddo, and teach you how to do it differently tomorrow. Let me give you the life skills that you must have been lacking in order to have made that mistake in the first place. You don't need to feel shameful about yourself. You don't need to feel, guilty. You just need to make a different decision tomorrow. And now I'm going to teach you how. So role plays is something that if you have little kids is one of my favorite things to do. These are Some of my favorite puppets, my husband, my best friend of 25 years, his mom is amazing, and she saved some of the coolest things from his childhood. So these are 2 puppets that she had saved and broke these out, I think, when my little guy was probably 3 years old, and she brought him by one day, and she said, hey, any interest in these puppets? I've been saving them for 35 years. I'm like, yes. So when it comes to role plays, I want you to imagine that, kids will, for sure. It's been proven, you guys, that kids learn really well through play. So they'll retain a lesson. So I want to do it like this. Say your kiddo makes a mistake and they push their sibling, and their sibling falls down and gets hurt. And you come in and say your little person is 5, and you say, hey, don't ever do that again. If you do that again, you will get in big trouble. You will be put in timeout. You will have no screen time for the week. That is it. Got it? Don't ever do it again. And of course, you can imagine your little one's like, oh my gosh, fine, I won't do it again, I'm scared. However, do they have the life skills that you want them to have to resist the temptation to push their sister when their sister makes a mean face or sticks out her tongue at her little brother? Like, did you just empower your little one with the life skills they need to make a different choice tomorrow? So usually, if we're being honest, the answer is no, right? We just taught them, don't ever do it again, because there's something to fear. Be scared of the outcome should you make that mistake again. So when you bring in something fun like this with puppets, you can say to them, hey, okay, not okay. And we're going to practice doing it a different way. So we're going to go rewind. One of my clients said their little person called it a rewind, but she said, let's rewind and we're going to practice that again. And this is in a calm time, you guys. Remember, teaching never wants to go down when you're in a heightened state, when you're kind of in that red zone, right? That part of the brain called the amygdala, where it's responsible for that like fight, flight, or freeze mechanism, where nobody does any learning. You can't be a good teacher and your kids can't be a good student because they're just engaged in this like, deer with their eyes, like deers in headlight mode. So when you bring in puppets, say for this situation that we're talking about, you can say, okay, tonight at bedtime, we're going to talk about what happened. We're going to do some learning about it. This is an example of what we call logical consequences with the work I teach at Fresh Start Family. And you're going to get out your puppets. You're going to give your little one Sally, and you're going to, or maybe he stays Johnny if he's Johnny, and you be Sally, and you're going to say, hey, we're going to practice what happened earlier. We're going to do a role play, and we're going to pretend, let's do it the way it went down, where you got frustrated, Sally did this, you pushed her, she fell down, she scraped her leg, I freaked out. How did you feel? Did you feel guilty? Did you feel shameful? Did you feel mad? Let me tell you how I felt, kid. Once I screamed at you, I felt so angry. I felt out of control. I felt so sad afterwards because I don't want to yell at you. I want you guys to get along. That didn't feel good. Okay, let's do it again, where we actually do it in a different way. And this time, when Sally pushes you, which is not okay, by the way, I'm going to talk to Sally about that later when I go into her bedroom. I'm going to teach her too, little one. But when this happens, I want you to practice some of the stuff I've been teaching you about self-control. How to pull your shirt and say, I feel mad, and walk away. I want you to actually practice your self-calming, which parents, hopefully you're doing a ton of teaching in your downtime, all that downtime you have right now, right? That's a joke. I know we have no downtime right now. Life has gotten so busy, even though we're at home 24/7. So, but you are going to have them actually practice that, where Sally's going to be annoying and Johnny's going to practice pulling his shirt and walking away. So it would look like, I feel mad. Oh, I'm going to walk away and go to my bedroom to self-calm. And he goes to his bedroom. And those of you who have little ones, you might have to actually show them first what it looks like. But trust me, you guys, before long, you'll be laughing, you'll be cracking up, and your kids will actually get practice actually doing what you're teaching them to do, because practice, you guys, is so important. You can't expect to just tell your kids how to do something and then have them go out into the world and be perfect at it. That's not how life works, right? Imagine training for like any sport that you do. You don't, when I started surfing, I didn't just walk out or paddle into the ocean and know how to surf a head high wave with style, right? Like it took years and years of practice. Life skills are no different. So disciplining with compassion and connection and play is so, so effective. I brought some of my other props. If you have older kids, you can make it fun. Remember in one of our past lessons that we did together, I talked about how, I'd much rather be the embarrassing parent than be a parent that my kids just always remember being angry and volatile and never having fun. So you guys, throw on a wig sometimes and have fun and be like, no, we are not handling a life like this. We're going to come back and we're going to do that again. And, make it fun. I have mask here. These are Mexican masks we got in Cabo. I have another little puppet. You guys make it fun. So that's role plays. And then redos is another example of where you can just do a rewind. And if you are, making dinner and going out or making dinner and you need everybody to come sit at the table, and on the way down, the kids get into a fight and start bickering and pushing each other on the stairwell, you can say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Everybody, deep breath, pause, teacher mode. I need everybody to walk back up the stairs and redo that, because that did not work for me. I'm not okay with you guys pushing each other and calling each other names. However, I know that you all are kind, loving, compassionate, patient. You have self-control. You are beautifully designed by God, and I'm going to have you go try that again because I believe in you. And then as much as they don't like it, they're all going to walk back up the stairs, and they're going to come back and try it again while keeping their hands to themselves and not pushing at each other, okay? So I have another really good example of this, families, over on my IGTV. You can find me at Fresh Start Wendy over on Instagram. But I actually filmed a whole redo scenario with a mama who was pretending to be a 12-year-old daughter. And that's a really good example if you want to see a full redo in action, what it looks like to do it the traditional way, punishment-based, and then to redo it with compassionate discipline that's filled with connection. That's a really good place to go see that. So you can check that out over on IGTV. But just remember, you guys, grace is sufficient for all, or it's sufficient for none. Okay, just remember, we were all freely given grace, not because we deserved it, but because what Jesus did for us. And this is what we want to play out with our children day in and day out, even though we're stressed, even though we're tired, even though we have all of these emotions going on right now and hardships because of this crisis. We want to be rooted in grace. We want to be a conduit of grace, a conduit of light. And let me tell you guys, I know it's easier said than done. But as long as that is your North Star, as long as Jesus is who you are looking at every night when you lay your head on your pillow to say, Jesus, how'd I do today? Tomorrow's a fresh start. Where are you going to take me tomorrow? What do you have for me to learn through how I handled the things that happened today? What do you have in store for my family tomorrow? What light are you going to bring to my day? As long as that is going on and that is your rock, we're all going to be okay. I promise you guys. So I am over here. I'm cheering you on. You can always find me over on freshstartfamilyonline.com. I'm really active on Instagram, Fresh Start Wendy, and I have a few online courses. My favorite is my Jesus Guided Parenting course. I can't wait to continue to encourage and support you. Remember, we are in this together, and you guys are doing an incredible job. You are incredible parents. Your kids are incredible kids, and together, your family inspires me.